My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. This is 5:16 a.m. This is the stalker, Ontario International Airport, and all the stalkers associated with this entity that is stalking via the airport. That includes Alan D. WAPNER, not a president, a demon, and a gang stalker, a co-conspirator of murder. Otif El Kadi, okay, not a CEO. This is a stalker, a demon, and is engaging in the criminal conduct as clearly as I'm documenting it. It's 5:16 a.m. and the entity is stalking by flying over the El Bacon at 200 North Euclid Avenue. They're doing so while I am not at the library, at the side of the library, but I'm on the opposite side of the Ontario Town Square, and the entity where there is no airport anywhere over here. Again, the same ongoing effort, action documented to target by being even over here where the airport is maintaining no plane activity when they're taking off from that airport property. This entity is stalking also at 5:16 a.m. And they're stalking everywhere that I'm going, which is the evidence clearly is establishing that. And as that is clearly established, the entity is not slowing down with stalking. Okay, so this is, again, bombshell evidence regarding never heard of or never proven methods of stalking, unveiling stalking by a government that is psychotic. And that's because they're demons. Engaging in things such as stalking in planes and helicopters. And as that is proven, the demons that were never supposed to be identified or spoken of and proven as such show how psychotic and maniacal they are, while these airlines are going to be federally prosecuted for this maniacal stalking at all hours, such as 5:16 a.m. in the dark. Okay, P.O.C. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. They are stalking. This is P.O.C. The people of the state are not private citizens, and the government maintains no warrant or probable cause to engage in through commercial airline planes, through the airport in any city, through the people of the state on the roads and the highways, which is the entity's pattern of conduct. And the clear stalking is shown through the targeting by the airport that maintains no terminals anywhere. The public nuisance is the evidence of targeting, that public nuisance that follows me around in the city that is coded in engineered light. The entity that maintains the light source, the demonic environment where the people of the state who are equally engaged in criminal activity as the entity, the hands and feet of that public entity, if you will, demon possessed in the same way as that entity that is stalking as the government. They are stalking on the roads and the highways in the specific environment, including where they live, where they work, and as they travel. There is no existing basis for the government to engage in stalking. There is no investigation. There is no such thing as a lawful investigation in concert with the public, okay? The entity, or through the airport. This is stalking, and you're paying attention to when I'm at the library and the entity is flying over the Ontario City Hall. Versus, like I stated, while I'm all where the fake sun is beside it, when I document during the day, and the entity is maintaining plane activity over the property. This is indeed monitoring. Monitoring is more detailed. It's more specific to your physical location. Okay, the entity is engaged in what is stalking me from position to position as I go from place to place. Those are monitoring demons. Okay, that is the inhumanity behind what is gang stalking, where demons are following you around and molesting you with impossible light, doing that in the specific environment. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's at the previous audio where I'm at the El Bacon, the opposite end of the same property. They're flying over that building. They're not flying over that building. As I'm on the north end of the Ontario Town Square, they're flying closer to the north end, following. This is how they're at where the airport is maintaining no plane activity, the 10 freeway, stalking in concert with the population that is being prosecuted. Okay, this is P.O.C. And there is no form of being removed from the possibility of being prosecuted because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of defendants. The entity is going to be federally prosecuted as the terrorist that it is. And that includes the shutdown of the Ontario International Airport and the prosecution of the board and the so-called executive team. Those are terrorists. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:35 a.m. This is public corruption. doing the same cartwheels that they're doing while I'm in the housing community, coming up to be in alignment with me. This is a stalker. All right, and this is the government that is clearly exposing that it is stalking individuals. Okay, individuals that they have planned to murder. That has been foiled. So you are getting bare bones, firsthand evidence, proof of severe mental instability by those who are practicing stalking as an entire entity. That is the evidence of severe mental illness that is a threat to the public, because it is also the public entity that is mentally ill. There is no purpose other than gang stalking, which is demonic activity, showing you the significance of the ongoing public nuisance that amplified plane activity in the engineered light while psychopathic pacing. Okay, the same demonic entity after another, under the guise of traffic, which includes the gang members themselves that are demon possessed. They're being disbanded. Their mental illness is put on full display, including as I capture the things that they say to me while they're engaging in this criminal conduct. The level of malice is psychopathic. Okay, this is the entity that is engaging in criminal activity with the public, the people of the state, who are proven as terrorists. They are not those that are authorized under any position under the Constitution based on the criminal activity of the people of the state, the public corruption of the people of the state, engaging in the un-American, the unconstitutional, the inhumane system of targeting in the shoes on behalf of, in concert with the government itself. P.O.C. This is where they're getting as close to me as possible, just like a stalker. All right, this is the, you see this pole right here? One shadow of the pole, two shadows of the pole, three shadows of the pole. This is the light activity where the airport is stalking one person, where the stalkers are cloaking themselves as police officers and they're stalking. Okay, where I've got these multiple shadows, they're all stalking. This is psychopathic pacing. Mental illness that's right in front of your face. Criminal activity, public corruption existing in plain sight. Demons who are possessed, okay, that are engaging in monitoring you. P.O.C. Stalking. All of them stalking with the government. The mentally ill are demon possessed. Okay? Going to the Wells Fargo as I am in relevant position is a means of surveillance. And Wells Fargo is going to be prosecuted for it. This is where the airport is stalking. Not legitimate business, federal RICO case. And the government that's engaging in the use, capitalizing off of, relying upon stalking via the establishment surrounding in the specific environment. And I want to be clear, this is the mentally ill that are stalking with the peculiarized light. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Nothing is open over there. They are stalking in the path as I'm moving. The plane is flying over, flashing of light while you're using an ATM. This is the pattern of conduct. Light activity, relevant positioning, audible activity. And these demons are being federally prosecuted. They're mentally ill. The light activity, the relevant positioning, the malicious means of stalking somebody, looking to the left and the right like nothing is happening. Everybody clearly sees what's happening. And it's surveillance by those that are stalking you as they have plotted your murder. The government is being emptied out, gutted out. This is not a government in Ontario. These are stalkers and they're demons. That's why they're stalking. They are in fact demons. This is P.O.C. This is state action, 5:46 a.m. The entity is stalking and monitoring with every move. Typically stalking at the intersections. This is another iteration of the same criminal activity in furtherance of murder. And that's how they will be prosecuted. Conspirators of murder. License 07720 Henry 3. And they're engaged in psychopathic pacing together. And what a sex offender wants to do is touch you with impossible light activity. Those are not headlights, and it's also unlawful while you're stalking in the path. It's also unlawful to touch, period. Okay? This is the entity that's engaged in that. This is that environment. Stalking by the government. In concert with the people. P.O.C. Following north, and so are the people of the state following north up Euclid Avenue, talking at the traffic intersections, molesting with impossible light. Doing so also proven under what is the fake sun, where the people of the state are sex offenders molesting you while they're stalking. 00480Z2, sexual assault and battery, co-conspirator of murder. This is the light activity where they are stalking in traffic with the government in the middle of the night. doing so while they're conspiring murder, and they do so with impunity, and that's going to be noted in federal court. Just like Osama bin Laden likes to murder people, you got an appetite for murdering, don't slow down regardless of the federal. That's noted. 8VKZ769. These are the hands and feet of the government. This is the vessel that is demon possessed. This is the entity that is stalking as the population, where there are no airport, there's no terminals, just like at the Ontario Town Square there isn't. This is going farther and farther away up North Euclid Avenue, okay? North in the direction on Euclid Avenue, okay? This is the entity that is stalking with the population. That's why the government is stalking in this manner, doing so with their co-defendant, the people, the terrorists that are being federally prosecuted. And this is what I'm documenting at Perez Law. The fake sun is over me at Perez Law, which I documented. They're all stalking. And this is impossible light activity. 9UJB760 is stalking in the path. Okay, and there's also stalking while they are in their facilitating venues where they have been documented and they will be prosecuted. You'll be prosecuted based on address because you are engaged in surveillance in the city of Ontario with the government that is going out of its way to be engaged in surveillance at I Street and Euclid Avenue. And this is that which is going to be inexplicable. It is inexplicable in federal court regarding proving that an airport is in fact stalking an individual. That and continuously includes itself in the documentation. They have no hope. Those are suicidal demons stalking in helicopters. So that's the case against the people. P.O.C. I'm going to show you them stalking by coming behind the housing community. Amplified plane activity. Stalking in the path with light. While the Ontario Police Department are crossing paths, remember they're monitoring my evidence. Mike LORENZ is intentionally including himself in evidence where you are providing extra evidence against yourself. That's the entity that's engaged in, and the people of the state are being prosecuted. Mike LORENZ incriminates you, 9KEN697, meaning you go to prison, stalking in the video evidence with the police that are including themselves in that video evidence. They're stalking together. And the stalkers are injecting themselves into the video footage. Just like they are coming to engage sexual assault and battery. Understand that this is what Amazon Prime is doing on this very street under the fake sun setting. License plate 8BHT895. When they are parked facing the wrong direction, lying in wait, stalking with the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, and that is gang stalking with the government, merely having a package to who are they? The people of the state, demons, surveillance. This is an entity of psychopaths and sex offenders who are subject to immediate deportation, okay? And companies such as Amazon Prime, who you see engaging in surveillance, that's not a package delivery, it is surveillance. And they're engaging in surveillance of one whom they are stalking because they are being documented. That's an unlawful threat that Amazon Prime, which is the government, not a private actor, they are a third party. And they're engaging in surveillance with the same demons that are injecting themselves in the video footage, the same demons that are engaging in psychopathic pacing over the venues that are being prosecuted. They are the people of the state. This is P.O.C. And this is what the city of UPLAND is doing, gang stalking, as the city of Ontario is gang stalking. The entire city is being prosecuted. 6X598. Understand the P.O.C. They grab newborn babies, the demons that they give birth to. They go engage in surveillance inside of the library. They're stalking in the bathroom. These are sex offenders that are stalking everywhere that I go. P.O.C. It is currently 6:09 a.m. And this is the entity this is psychopathic pacing. Same demonic entity, one after another. And the ones that are in police vehicles, they're being disbanded in Ontario. There is no police department in the city. It is being removed. It is a threat to the public. All right, P.O.C. It's currently, again, 6:09 a.m. at I Street. Church is engaged in its grounds, part of the satanic system that is speaking to the pattern of conduct is underway via those associated with the property. You're being prosecuted day and night, 24 hours a day. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:09 a.m. This is criminal summoning, encounter with the people, psychopathic pacing, one after another, not traffic, surveillance. 6JYA352. 1UBR433. That looks like a Washington plate. They're driving, remember, an engineer light. The fake moon following me up the street. 7NOY626. And so are the gang stalkers. These are the thugs and gang members that are utilizing criminally misusing emergency vehicles, police vehicles. The entity is engaged in monitoring the street lamps going out as I'm in use of my device. That's light activity. This is the entity that's creating light activity in concert with the people of the state that are pacing on the roads and the highways, and they're pacing via the Ontario International Airport, which is already on video stalking me literally at this venue where the entity engaged in harassment. The African-American female with the hair bonnet and the lashes and stalking me and harassing because I'm documenting the fact that they're stalkers. That's a psychopath, okay? The entities, and that is, again, speaking as the state. The state that's gang stalking is the one that is speaking. The state is the one that's maintaining presence at the facilitated venues where they reside. And this is at Hawthorne, following up the street. You're talking El Morado, Plaza Serena. The entity that's stalking as I'm continuously walking up the street, 4th Street, up Rosewood. The entity at each intersection is engaging what is the maintenance of stalking in the path via traffic. And as the entity is documenting, as I'm documenting them stalking, getting the streets, the entity then engages in criminal summoning, okay? This is the entity that is following my lead literally as they engage in criminal activity. Because I'm getting the entity that is stalking by police. This is a tactic. These idiots are injecting themselves in the videos. Okay, it's as dumb and as regretful as Mike LORENZ going to prison for stalking by helicopter as an agency. But this is what the entity is doing and utilizing criminal summoning at the gang stalking institution, Chaffey College. Chaffey College, which is engaged in the pattern of conduct with the terrorists that are under the age of majority. The entity is utilizing that venue as a means of stalking in the path with light, massive facilitation. This is what the people of the state do with hazard lights. This is what the people of the state do while Alrighty, for the purposes of showing you the P.O.C, this is a third-party company stalking in the path in concert with the entity. That's Samuel Stainless Aluminum Carbon. That's a gang stalking company. That's a terrorist. And the entity is flying over while I am at this location, sharing in the pattern of conduct, letting you know what's going on in position. Mark Grossman is a gang stalker who happens to be licensed with the California State Bar. That is speaking to terrorists who are unfit to be engaged in the practice of law. This is the entity that's doing so at what is IHOP, where Metrolink is not going to cause any earthquake. And believe it or not, this is not going to be heard in the bathroom. It's called amplification. It's light activity. And the entity is doing so at 7:17 a.m. As I already documented, Metrolink is targeting with the city of Upland that flew over the top of my head right now, operating this, using this as a means of criminal facilitation with the people of the state outside of what the schedule publishes, just like the Ontario International Airport. It is P.O.C. Metrolink is gang stalking with the city of Upland. This is light activity, relevant positioning. This is what they're doing as a sex offense committed as an entity. When you are in the restroom, legs spread apart, vagina exposed, the entity will utilize what is a means of the public nuisance, train, plane, any means of sirens, any means of amplified audible activity while a population, all these people, monitoring your genitalia, okay, and surrounding you with psychopathic methods of stalking. This is light activity. That's, again, CMAX. Very heavily documented engaging in surveillance in Ontario. This is P.O.C. In the city and on the street where the fake sun rises and sets, okay? That's the pattern of conduct. It is currently 7:19 a.m. Let me give you some license plates. 8 Nancy Mary Kelly 492. 8 Frank Sam Bob 416. 8 Edward Victor Uncle 617. 9 Frank Xavier Yolanda 700. 9 Mary Nancy Apple 862. 9 Frank Mary Frank 452. 8 Zebra 68. I can't really see the rest of that one. That is CMAX, license plate 9 Henry Queen Apple 827. 79399 Wendy 3. License 70280 Charlie 3. License 8 Zebra Apple Thomas 172. 6 Victor Edward Paul 473. License 7 Frank 0 Paul 650. And I want you to listen to this because this is occurring under the... First of all. Second of all, it's not going to be heard inside of the bathroom of the IHOP. That's the pattern of conduct. Metrolink is a sex offender. It's a vagina monitoring company. It's engaged in terrorism. And remember, the entity's flying over the top of my head. That's the city of Upland. Okay, this is getting to Bill Velto. Yeah, that's getting to what is Marco De Leon. This is demonic. When on Metrolink, which I documented them gang stalking, it is not even interfering with your ability to speak with the person next to you. This is demonic. It's amplification, and it's a public nuisance, and it's also harassment. I'm going to prosecute Metrolink as a terrorist and in providing what is massive facilitation in furtherance of committing murder. As a gang stalker utilizing the railways to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, again with the city of Ontario, Pacific with the city of Upland, Union Pacific with the city of Ontario. Okay, that's the P.O.C. Like I stated, aboard Metrolink, which I will attach to this video, the entities engage in the P.O.C. as though it is the most loudest, uproarious activity, and it's going to interfere with everything going on in the city. That's what the entity does with any method of activity, including train activity. And that is not the case. All right, that is a public nuisance. The entity is engaged in what is amplification. You're looking at witnessing demonic activity, what you see and what you hear. Not only that, I am aboard Metrolink, and the entity is making stops. And it is not the amplified audible activity, which would be piercing your ears while you are aboard that train. And the entity is engaged in what is a stalking with noise, which is demonic. That which is demonic by the government and a population is a method of terrorism, psychological torture. And it is also relevant to what is the entity that is harassing you. That's the government that's harassing you in furtherance of murdering you, okay? This is P.O.C. Doing so at the IHOP, where I'm documenting the fake sun and the fake moon. This is at 80 Euclid Avenue, or it's at the intersection of A and Euclid. All right, this is P.O.C. This is crossing path, not traffic. All right, everybody in the apartments are monitoring. Mark Grossman is a gang stalker. The law office is in relevant position. There are no exceptions here. Okay, and again, you saw the city of Upland that's flying over my head by plane, and they are engaging in ambush conduct. So stalking by pulling up to your home, which is a facilitating venue, while the government is stalking me, and that is the government as well, where they live, crossing path to sexually assault and batter with light activity as they're flying over your head at the venues of the people of the state. This is the same conduct. Doing so while Metrolink is en route, flying over the top of my head. This is the entity that is tracking your steps. 807 Yolanda 3. This is psychopathic pacing. This is P.O.C. This is what the entity is doing while they're stalking with sirens and lights. This is like Marcelo Blanco, and engaging in the pattern of conduct in Upland, California, where this population engages and maintains vagina monitoring on behalf of the government that has no legitimate interest in what's between my legs. But that is the level of surveillance while you're seeing them stalk me with the train, with the population, while the entity is stalking in planes. The entity is a violent sex offender and engaging in that with everyone, everything, everywhere, including the noise that the demons create, which is amplified in volume. Okay, it's as demonic and fake, if you will. It's not the real, true, genuine, audible activity level as that fake sun that remains over the Upland Public Library all day. That's an indication. And this is criminal summoning. 9 Henry 12585. P.O.C. Terminates gang stalking, Donnelly in Los Angeles County. P.O.C. Psychopathic pacing. This is the same thing that the Ontario Police Department are engaged in. And the cities are monitoring together. This is psychopathic pacing. This is a demon. P.O.C. This is activity creation. This is monitoring on the property of Mark Grossman. Criminal summoning. Remember, I'm documenting Mark Grossman, who's a gang stalker. He's a terrorist claiming to be an activist at the same time, a civil rights activist. He is no such thing. He is another demon-possessed charlatan who is unfit to be engaged in the practice of law. This is why the entity is also targeting me near the property in relevant position, regardless of business hours. This is an entity that's maintaining surveillance, and this is, again, another pathetic iteration of a failed idea regarding there is no such thing as retaliation when you're being federally prosecuted under all circumstances. This is P.O.C, and this is the law offices of Mark Grossman. This is a gang stalking facilitating venue, not a genuine law office. All right, this is an establishment for criminal conduct. All right, and hypocrisy by the state. It is currently 7:26 a.m. This is where the entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning and stalking in concert with the city of Upland that is targeting, flying over me while I'm in relevant position to the entity that I'm documenting. P.O.C. Hi, this is P.O.C. I am in Upland, and that is Southwest Airlines. Alrighty, they are in the city of Upland stalking with commercial. This is the fake sign over me in Upland, California. License 8NHN025-9SSH893. This is the city of Upland gang stalking with Southwest Airlines. This is also the city of Upland gang stalking me with the city of Ontario. This is the state of California conspiring my murder. I'm at 8th Street in Euclid, and the entity is maintaining the fake sun over me in this area where the fake sun is rising. This is the evidence of a population stalking. This is the mentally ill. These are demons, and they're conspiring murder while they are gang stalking on the roads and the highways. Southwest Airlines is going to be federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C, and that's the city of Ontario. P.O.C. The Cable Airport is a third-party facilitating venue. It's the people of the state, Upland. All right, and that's the entity engaging in this together. This is what the terrorists engage in when you surround them with evidence that they are guilty. They engage in more acts of terrorism. That's getting me. The fake sun is over me. So pay attention to what Marcelo Blanco is telling the United States. This is a domestic terrorist, just like Mike Lorenz, the clear statement, the unequivocal position of terrorists that are being exposed. And this is what an entity has been doing against American citizens. I'm exposing it, and they are showing themselves as what are enemies of this country. They are going to be federally prosecuted. And it includes the people that say, such as Southwest Airlines, Cable Airport, and the entity that is gang stalking, the gang members of the Upland Police Department. I'm in the city of Upland. I am at the people of the state facilitating venue, 220 Avenue, where they're engaged in the pattern of conduct. This is not a private property. This is the facilitating venue. And these are psychopaths that serve to prosecute themselves. All right, this is the impossibility that the sun is remaining at the Ovid Family Community Library, like the evidence shows, but yet it's over me, moving in the direction south on the same street where I'm walking to the city of Upland in the morning, and it's rising and over these demons' homes,
moving in the direction that I'm moving. This is the entity under all circumstances to engaged in targeting. This is the demons of AMR that you see engaged in criminal summoning, the demons of the Upland Police Department engaging in criminal summoning, San Bernardino County Fire Department engaged in criminal summoning when you're looking at the big picture regarding this fake sun chicanery that I'm capturing in order to prosecute the U.S. government, which includes the people of the state. These are not private citizens. These are domestic terrorists in the U.S. This is P.O.C. This is relevant to Title 18 criminal obstruction, which Marcelo Blanco, those gang members that have committed kidnapping, are going to be federally prosecuted for. And the demon that went to San Bernardino Police Department, he's watching himself being prosecuted. You don't transfer out of a federal prosecution, just like Derek Williams. You don't retire out of a federal prosecution with regard to domestic terrorism. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, here is Ontario Police in the city of Ontario, and that's how it's going to be federally prosecuted, where the entity is stalking in an adjacent city. That city where you are being targeted is being federally prosecuted for what another side of its jurisdiction is engaging in within the walls, the confines of that city, as they are one entity targeting together. That is Marcelo Blanco and Mike Lorenz together conspiring my murder while I'm subject to gang stalking by helicopter in Upland, California by the city of Ontario that's monitoring all the evidence that's published online. This is the entity engaging in that very heavily documented pattern while the fake sun's over me. Psychopathic pacing, flying in circles around me where that fake sun is over me. And that is, again, an obvious prosecution for the people of the state. The people of the state at what is 118 Euclid Avenue. And as I've shown that pattern, the entity engaging in this, you're going to look at March 25th, 2026 on the same Euclid Avenue from the Yoga Family Community Library. And the entity is maintaining the fake sun as I walk in the direction north, coming from Upland, California. And it's currently 3:32 p.m. The fake sun remaining over me as I'm walking on the same street, Euclid Avenue, walking in the direction south, showing you entity is going to be federally prosecuted. They're being committed, they're being deported, they're being prosecuted as domestic terrorists. They maintain no privacy. They are terrorists that are being published all over the internet, any and everything, their social security number, the identification of any children they're in custody of, the ways in which they're engaging in terrorism, gang stalking another American citizen, doing so while they commit what is criminal summoning with the demons that are stalking in helicopter, incriminating them, prosecuting them, serving my purpose in this case against the U.S. government. That's the people of the state. Than any private information. This is the entity. This is P.O.C. And that is, I want to be clear, federal prison. Mike Lorenz is going to prison. And every stalker and kidnapper of that department is going to federal prison. The entity is engaging in this while I am using my communication device, just like I stated is the case when looking at content online, and the entity is engaged in psychopathic pacing by the gang stalkers at the Ontario International Airport, which maintain no flights that are going to be flying over the Ontario Civic Center, the senior citizen complexes in the city, where the entity is maintaining a fake sun at the same time, Euclid Avenue in Harvard. It is untenable. The entity is engaging in this conduct, threatening my life and engaging in what is criminal surveillance relevant to what is surveillance on my devices, which there is no warrant or probable cause to do so, nor with the people of the state. 9MOG 183. They're all being federally prosecuted, this entire city of Ontario, and that is speaking to the state of California. Okay? Remember, Ontario and Upland committed kidnapping. This is the basis of disbanding. You're seeing their impunity, so you're not going to hesitate to remove terrorists from existence. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:33 p.m. where the people of the state, I've been documenting them gang stalking in their homes, which are facilitating videos, and they're gang stalking equally while the entity is flying circles around me where they are residing. 1112 North Euclid Avenue. This demon left his car in the middle of the road while these demons were doing what? Using their brake lights, going around. That was activity creation. I documented him doing that right here, and I captured his license plate. He's engaged in the pattern of conduct with the Ontario Police Department in furtherance of murder and everybody in that household. This is P.O.C. That's how you're going to prosecute the whole population that is under all circumstances and at all times remaining the stalker. Right? And it's captured through that supernatural occurrence, which I've documented for the record. Covering up the fake sun changes nothing. This is an entity that is monitoring the prosecutor, stalking the prosecutor. Very foolish. And nonetheless, you will be looking at the evidence of that supernatural where you are aware of what the U.S. government, this beast system, consists of, what it looks like. And these demons in California are going to prison for it. They're going to prison. So as the beast system does progress in violence in this country, the demons in California are going to be locked up. P.O.C. It is currently 3:34 p.m. Alrighty, this is evidence of Amazon Prime targeting with specific knowledge that their terrorist acts are being documented. And specific intent is documented under a fake sun license 96778G3. Pay attention to the fake sun. It doesn't move over that vehicle. Amazon's engaged in targeting right here at I Street in Euclid with the Ontario Police Department that's stalking me going down the street. With the City of Ontario, Ontario International Airport, Amazon Prime also maintains commercial planes where they are targeting me in furtherance of murder. They are stalkers that engage in carrying packages to the people of the state while they are stalking via the use of that business. They are doing so while they're keeping the evidence against them under surveillance, which is entirely psychopathic. These are the mentally ill population that are hiding under the guise of a company name. This is Bezos' act of terrorism in the United States. This is Plaza Serena at what is 3:40 p.m. The fake sign is in alignment to me where a demon of that same demonic company, which is a terrorist and a sex offender. The entity is engaging in what is stalking while I'm on the same street, walking in the same direction, and this fake sun 3 hours from now is quote unquote setting along this same street where the people of the state are engaged in psychopathic pacing. That's where you see the mental illness of the demon possessed who are monitoring you, and it includes Amazon Prime. This is the entity. I've been up and down and documenting the people of the state by their house numbers, by their license plates. They are all sharing in that ongoing psychopathic behavior, threatening the life of an American citizen, doing so with the police that I documented on video, doing so with the airport that I'm documenting on a daily basis, including while I am crossing paths with them while they're stalking where they live. They are stalking where they live, where the specific environment is following me. And Amazon Prime is following me while they are doing so under a fake sun, showing them gang stalking in Ontario under a fake sun in the same way that Omnitrans is, while they are maintaining ongoing evidence. And that is, again, that is the maniacal conduct. This is what the Ontario police, they are psychopaths. So while they are caught with evidence, this infuriates psychopaths, and they then provide more evidence to put them away. This is an entity that is engaging, in fact, in terrorism, okay? So this is the entity that is typically accomplishing murdering their victim, accomplishing traumatizing their victim. The entity is engaged in more and more acts of terrorism as they are surrounded inevitably, and you are even witnessing that, while the beast system and the way in which that beast system operates is being fully expounded upon. This is impossible that the sun would still be here at I Street. All right, this is where I'm at right now, I Street in Euclid. Neither are any of these demons, stalkers, ignorant of that. It is here for their gang stalking purposes, and that includes terrorists. Just like the Amazon Prime are demonstrating, this is what they're doing while they continuously target me. All right, a stalker not standing down when they're caught. In fact, it infuriates and they engage in more terrorism. That is noted, okay? This is relevant to what are damages that are designed to destroy these companies in civil court. That is justice. All right, damages are awarded at a level that's never been contemplated before under federal law because you cannot quantify what is the psychological harms behind the government that is stalking through malicious companies such as Amazon Prime, stalking me in planes and using their demon-possessed employees to engage in surveillance, which is exactly what I documented here. This is P.O.C. This is the same sex offense that they're committing in the night when I'm being molested with impossible light. I'm being molested under a fake sun. 8NFJ883. These are the mentally ill. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:42 p.m. All right, this is the entity that is west of the Ontario Town Square, south of the 10 freeway when I'm in Upland, California. It's the same gang stalk, the same terrorist, Southwest Airlines. And commercial airport in Ontario, California. There's no commercial airports in Upland. This is the entity that is stalking, and they're stalking in concert with the where the government is stalking, the people of the state are stalking. This is an entity. They're doing this at what is C Street. They're inside of these. I'm under surveillance as I'm walking through the neighborhood. Okay, this is P.O.C. at 207. I believe this is B Street. Yeah, 207 B Street. P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking by flying over the Ontario Town Square like you saw this morning in the dark. They're perpetually hovering in this direction, and yet they're never rising in elevation, stalking. That's how you get to the Stater Brothers, and you're still hovering in the sky space. 8WFK768. They're monitoring together with the people inside of the buildings. These are demons. Number one, this is the beast system, and it's criminal surveillance. P.O.C. It's currently 4:43 p.m. P.O.C. following from Euclid Avenue
What do you mean, coffee?
in Target State.
Creamer for your coffee.
P.O.C. This is the senior center where they're flying all night long. over me targeting where the entity maintains a light source. And this is the exact same pattern of conduct where Southwest Airlines, I took pictures of it, stalking right here, very particular to where I'm located. The light touching this building, that's not sunlight. It's impossible light activity. This is P.O.C. They are monitoring me. It's 4:56 p.m. These are the terrorists that are gang stalking, and Southwest Airlines is doing so. They're doing so with the elderly people, the elderly population. They're doing so with the city of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport targeting right here. This is P.O.C. It's currently 4:56 p.m.
So yeah, a lot of those lessons came very, very difficult.
This is what the entity is doing while I am at Harvard and Euclid Avenue, flying in circles around me, stalking fake sun over me, and this is that same agency stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library. They are walking out, including the Securitas security guard, gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, crossing path, engaging in what is monitoring. So is Mickey. Mickey's walking out crossing path. This is on the record. I'm documenting them. These are the ones engaging in what is discriminating against me while they're gang stalking and further into murder at the same time. They are going to prison. All right, this is clear targeting by the Ontario Police, and they're targeting with the Ovid Family Community Library with the people there. All right, and it's currently where they're engaged in flying in circles over me at 5:21 p.m. They're inside of the Ontario Senior Center gang stalking. The Ontario City Hall, those employees are pacing in the same sky space, covering up the fake sun that you already know is here, already captured it in images after 5 p.m. this time, and the entity is engaging in this conduct. This is what they're doing with the city of UPLAND. Mike LORENZ has no, like I said, they're going to prison, and these are in fact terrorists. You need to be informed about the existence of this beast system. These are the ones that the Lord God has used to expose it, and these are the ones that are getting locked up as well. These are the first of terrorists in the United States that are going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It's currently 5:22 p.m. This is video documentation pertaining to the ongoing terrorism committed by the City of Ontario. This is the U.S. government acting via the state of California in the city, the jurisdiction of Ontario, California, maintaining the criminal pattern of conduct. The Ontario Police Department, which is the city of Ontario, this is the same one that's acting as kidnapper, as acting as the one that's criminally defaming me, having authority under the law whatsoever, which they don't, the fictitious exercise of authority while they're simultaneously stalking and terrorizing. This department is clearly stalking me by helicopter under the fake sun on Euclid Avenue as I'm walking from Upland, California to Ontario, California. They commenced to flying in circles around me at intersection Harvard and Euclid Avenue. They are then stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library, and I want to document that into the evening, the entity engaging in terrorism, hovering by helicopter, engaging in what is extraordinarily loud, amplified, audible activity, doing so as a war zone is maintained at the Ovid Family Community Library. Mickey and Dylan of Securitas. You have the employees that are engaging in the pattern of conduct while they are, again, these are hostile demons that are watching me prosecute them in Upland, California, watching me prosecute them outside of the Ovid Family Community Library. These are the tactics of terrorists, and I'm noting it because they are going to prison. I took a picture of Abigail gang stalking. She's with her communication device. She's crossing paths. She is stalking, doing so with the entity that was maintaining ongoing warlike conduct with helicopters, extraordinarily loud. The entity is already stalking with loud activity by helicopter. What the entity is doing while I was sitting in between capturing Southwest Airlines, the airport stalking over the Senior Center, and the 280 North Lemon Apartments, the John Stewart Senior Citizen Apartment Complex, that sky space right there. The planes were flying over there, and the entity was also stalking by helicopter, which I captured both in images and in video. At that same sky space, the entity flying directly over the sky space, over me, in the direction which would have been north. Yeah, flying north over that sky space and doing so with tremendous amplification. This is a threat by the demons of the Ontario Police Department. This is what the entity is doing. This is hostility, and I'm going to prosecute because of the threat that the entity is posing. The entity continuously engaged in stalking last night at the Ovid Family Community Library, by the way, by helicopter. I'm capturing this on a nightly basis. So this is nothing that's new. This is what the entity committed last night while I am essentially ignoring them, but I'm documenting it in this podcast because they're going to prison. They're going to be literally physically in court, and they're going to be accountable for this that they're doing on an ongoing basis in the helicopters, like they're never coming down onto the ground, like they're never going to be in court, like that agency is not going to be raided, like they're not going to be held accountable, and they actually are. individually and collectively as an agency. This is a terrorist agency, and the people of the state are terrorists stalking with that agency. They are going to prison because what they do together is called criminal summoning. They are going to federal prison for everything that I'm documenting, the details that I'm including, because then they are engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct together. Those terrorists are going to prison, okay? So this is the entity last night engaging in what is ongoing stalking, flying in circles multiple times last night while I'm at the Ovid Family Community Library, where I show the fake sun is over me at the end of that library, not at the entrance. The same location where the fake sun is, as a matter of history, over me at the entrance, remaining until the end of the day when the library closes, if at 6 p.m. or at 4 p.m. on Sundays, and then until sunset. And then I capture the entity engaging in what is ambushing me upon my entrance and exit of that same Ovid Family Community Library. The entity is stalking me while I am maintaining this evidence to prosecute them. These are terrorists that are acting in furtherance of a delusion. They're engaging in the ongoing maintenance of surveillance and furtherance of murder. It's just that they're not accomplishing any murder. I'm going to be alive and well testifying against this agency, testifying against Mike LORENZ, testifying against every kidnapper, testifying against the terrorists who are the people of the state who are engaging in a pattern of conduct while they admit to receiving a citation, and the entity admits to providing a citation for whatever the ongoing code is under the California vehicle code, where they are using that as a guise for criminal surveillance. They're doing so under the fake sun and the fake moon while I'm documenting the P.O.C, and they will be admitting to engaging in that while they provide the evidence of what they were doing with regard to criminal summoning. They're going to prison, every single iteration of it. License 8 STC 715, they're engaging in the pattern of conduct while they are monitoring the evidence, which is very foolish because it's all being submitted in the tribunal. There is no controversy. There will be no search for the truth in the court. It's already exposed. The federal government is literally watching the truth of what I've already proven underway being executed, and then they're going to be ushered into a courtroom for convictions. That's literally because I've done the work already. It's already convicted. They're already convicted. And that's also relevant to a threat. These are demons who are suicidal, and they are willing to commit homicide. They're willing to engage in what is psychological torture, tormenting and stalking and engaging in what is horrifying someone because they have been caught. These are the demon possessed that commit murder. That's what lets you know about the threat that the Ontario Police Department poses. The City of Ontario poses. Terrorists that are stalking in commercial planes and calling themselves reputable companies such as Delta Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, Amazon Prime Air, multi-billion-dollar companies. They're terrorists. I'm going to prosecute them. It is complete. This is P.O.C. This is noting what the Ontario Police Department committed all last night being April 2nd, 2026. P.O.C.